Genocide and crimes against humanity. This time not in the Middle East, but China. The U.S. State Department, in its annual Global Human Rights Report, details Chinese Communist Party violations against predominantly Muslim Uyghurs and members of other ethnic and religious minority groups in Xinjiang province, also known as East Turkestan. Salih Hudayar is the foreign minister of the East Turkestan Government-in-Exile. Mr. Foreign Minister, it's good to talk with you again. Not so good about what's happening to your people at the hands of the Chinese government. So bring us up to date. How does this year's State Department report differ from previous years?
Well, unfortunately, the report doesn't differ much in the fact that the genocide is still ongoing and has been ongoing for the past 11 years, starting in 2014. However, the latest report does confirm that the genocide is ongoing. It includes the fact that China is continuing to mass intern Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples. Many of them are now being given official, prison sentences. Millions of Uyghurs continue to be used as slave labor through Chinese corporations and factories across both East Turkestan and across China. And then it also highlights that the Chinese government is expanding its organ harvesting industry, especially targeting political prisoners and Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples. And it also highlights that China is also engaging in transnational repression of Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples across the globe, including here in the United States.
And it was during Trump's first term that then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo officially labeled the human rights violations against the Uyghur people as genocide. So how important was that step and the administration's determination to continue the designation? And what does that mean to the Uyghur people?
Well, it was a very important step because it was the first time that the international community, especially led by the United States, acknowledged the suffering of our people and the scale of the atrocities that our people faced. It led to similar designations by over a dozen European parliaments, Western parliaments, as well as a report by even a designation by the United Nations Human Rights Office, which stated that it was crimes against humanity. The importance of this designation is very important in, one, calling out China's atrocities, but also trying to seek accountability and justice for our people. And even after this designation, the latest development is that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security further expanded the enforcement of the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, which is a very positive step in the right direction. The DHS added steel, copper, lithium, and other, goods presumed to be made with Uyghur forced or slave labor from coming into the United States. So this is going to be subjecting these, goods that are coming from China to intense scrutiny at U.S. ports and Customs and Border Protection.
Well, I was going to say, what good is a designation unless it's backed up by action? And it looks like there's some movement in that direction. And genocide would mean the Chinese are specifically attempting to exterminate the Uyghur race. So what are they doing on that front? Forced abortion, intermarriage, what?
Yes, so the Chinese government is, according to experts on organ harvesting, they estimate that 25,000 to 50,000 Uyghur youth are being killed every year for their organs. So this is the killing part. The Chinese government also has forcibly sterilized hundreds of thousands of Uyghur women. Their own official data shows that they, quote, prevented the births of 3.7 million Uyghur and other Turkic babies over the past several decades. The Chinese government also has forcibly separated over 1 million Uyghur and other Turkic children from their families, putting them up into what they call so-called orphanages or boarding schools. But if you look at the satellite imagery data and the few images that journalists who were able to get somewhere near it were able to take, it's essentially internment camps for children. And you see Chinese social media posts in which they are brainwashing these children, dressing up these Uyghur children in, miniature People's Liberation Army uniforms, and, indoctrinating them with Chinese nationalism and loyalty, and separating them from all of their, traditional, ethnic, cultural, and religious heritage.
Salih Hudayar, Foreign Minister of the East Turkestan Government in Exile, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.